welcome to another episode of Love What with Audrey Weilai, where we ask people what non-romantic love means to them. And today our special guest is my friend, teacher, and mentor, Giovanni Baccarani.
Thank you,
Hi,
Weilai.
Giovanni.
Thank you. Hi, Weilai.
Where are you tuning in from?
In this moment, I'm in Spain, where I live since about 20 years. I'm from Italy, but Spain is my home since already quite a lot of time. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I actually like to talk a lot.
Then I'll try to interrupt.
No, I mean, that's one of my the things that define me because I
Yeah.
wish I was able to be going more straight to the point. It's since 20 plus years, like almost 23 years that I'm teaching aquatic bodywork, practicing since 25 years.
And for people who don't know, what is aquatic bodywork and what particular style do you teach?
Well, for people who don't know what it is, well, I would recommend that they go and find it out. I mean, they should try. For me, it really was like a milestone, I would say, before and an after. The first time I received a session, it was really one of those aha moments where, oh my goodness, I want to have this in my life, you know? And at the time, probably was not so smart. So I decided I was going to study it and practice it instead of just enjoying it and receiving. So aquatic bodywork, there's plenty of techniques and names around that. I started with WATSU, which is a form of aquatic shiatsu. So like shiatsu brought in the water. And some years ago, with a team of colleagues, we developed, we upgraded it, if I can say that, no offense for anybody. And we created something that is called AQUASOMA to reflect a little more the importance of the somatic work in the water. So the influence of Shatsu has decreased a little, and there's a lot more that is based on somatic work. And more modern techniques or approaches to body work, including fascia, a lot of work inspired by neurology. For me, it's magic. It's just really beautiful, and I think it brings beauty in my daily life. That's definitely something that is making my life a better life for myself and also for the people that enjoy either receiving session or join us in the training.
I was part of the training in Spain and Belgium multiple times with your school. I really loved it. It transformed my life.
It does. What I really find nice in body work, and it's something that I keep on hearing from former students, is that some people started training and then life goes on and things happen and they get off track for a while. They kind of not forget, but put it aside. And like most of feelings, if you don't experience them with certain continuity, at a certain point you kind of forget how it was. And then all of a sudden they happen to receive a session or to meet somebody who was part of the group and they're like, wow, I want this back in my life.
Yeah.
And it's reconnecting with something that is deeply nurturing. Definitely for those who never experienced that, find any practitioner, WATSU, water dance, and of course, AQUASOMA, and doesn't really matter the name of the technique, but it's the type of approach, the weightlessness, the distance you take from the noisy world, because the water level is here. It really projects people in another dimension where they really can reconnect with themselves and with the beauty and love in the world.
How do people find competent and ethical practitioners so they'll have a beautiful, safe experience? I mean, I got lucky. I met your staff and colleagues and you?
First of all, I want to focus on positive
Okay.
and on beauty in the world. I think that in general, human beings ultimately deep inside have beauty and have good. So I would say that the majority of people that you can find are driven by goodwill.
Okay.
And certainly some may be more skilled, more prepared, some maybe less. And then I definitely would invite people in trusting their gut feeling. You pick up the phone, you call somebody, or you write an email, and depending how they deal with you, at the beginning that tells you how they're going to deal with you when you are in their arms. It's This is what I say, at least to my students. The session begins when the people are calling you or are writing you. From the very beginning, how you're welcoming them, how you're greeting them, how you're making space for them. They already did their part, which is picking up the phone or writing you an email. Then it's up to you to create a space for them. If you don't like the session, certainly you will have learned something anyway. I actually don't like, I don't know, pasta with whatever. Oh, okay. You
Well, I think
try. You try
you're
another.
less vulnerable eating pasta that you don't like and just push the plate away versus you're in the water being supported by someone. This is a new experience. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No, I mean, you're definitely right in the sense that you don't like the pasta, you pull the plate away. You can still thank the chef. And it's different when you delegate your safety and your body and your whole being to the arms of another person. But again, I think you will learn something anyway. And this may actually sound awful to somebody, and I apologize in advance.
That's okay. You can't please everyone.
Yeah, definitely. If you trust your gut feeling, if you trust what the animal that you have inside is telling you, you will not get in a situation that is not okay for you. If you edit your first 5 seconds feeling, if you try to fool yourself saying, oh no, maybe that person was just too busy in that moment and so was not really attentive in replying to me. That person didn't really reply to all my doubts or questions or didn't make time for me. But it's okay. It's a hectic society. Well, if you edit what your animal is telling you, well, you will learn that you got to trust your gut feeling. And learning is not always pleasant. I would say that most of time, what we learn in real life, not speaking in a course, I'm saying the lesson that life is giving us, they don't come out from pleasant situation. Because if you follow the flow, it's very trendy to speak about being in the state of flow. So let me surf that wave. If you follow the flow, well, probably you have already learned what you need to learn. Unfortunately, it's most of the time through difficult times that we learn something new. But I remember one of my master, still have it in my mind. He took me aside in a course and he said, you know, Giovanni, you are really looking at the world with pink glasses to find the good in everybody. And that's very nice of you. You're really striving to get rid of judgment and to get rid of prejudice. And sometimes when somebody is a son of a, that person is still a son of a. He can be a good person in some other context, but in that context, that person is a son of a. And that's it. It's what it is. So hearing this from my master at that time was like, okay, so apparently I'm wearing glasses that I'm not even aware of. And I realized that yes, I was really trying to edit my gut feeling. Every time I do it, I'm becoming more and more aware as I grow older. Then I realized that, yeah, you have to trust your gut feeling. Period. It's just the more or less experience. And then it's just a session, you know this very well, is it's a very personal relation because you're surrendering to the water and you're giving your body to somebody who will physically support you in the water. And this person will also need to be sensitive and skilled enough to be able to accompany your body where it will want to go.
Mm.
So that's part of listening, reading with your hands and with your arms and with your body, listening, and then going with the flow that you're in the direction that your body is silently expressing. I actually don't remember exactly the phrase, but for me, that was really the best description I have ever heard. That person was defining at the time she was speaking about WATSU as something like the closest thing to love, with a capital L, and meditation. And to me, that's really true because, as I was telling you before, I wouldn't be able to define what love is. Listening is a manifestation of love. So when
Mm.
people are there to listen to me, that's for me a manifestation of their caring for me, their love for me. In an AQUASOMA session, there is like 15 minutes of I am listening to you with my entire being, physical, mental, emotional, if you want to say even spiritual.
Mm.
But that's kind of giving love, certainly.
Yeah, deep listening and being a witness to them. And what about tuning into the breath of the receiver?
That's another point. Now that I think of it, it has an interesting parallelism. I don't even know if it's an English word with love because I say that we need to tune in the breath, but this doesn't mean we should breathe at the same rhythm as our client.
Mm.
We should just meet with their inhale or their exhale from time to time. So we should be aware of where they are, allowing their own pace, and at the same time respecting and flowing with our own pace, which may be very different. That has a lot to do with love. I have dear friends, and sometimes we don't hear from each other for months. They're there in Italy or in the States or in this moment even in Russia. Not the easiest place to be in this moment. From time to time, we drop a message, we call each other, and we meet. And there's no effort. We just meet and we are the same. There's a match. The breath for me is like the same. You are aware where the breath of the other person is. So, like, I'm aware where my friend is. And as soon as we get close again, we sync again. So, in a session, in the practice, sometimes the specialist is actually doing some work. Sometimes there's even some physical effort. So
Yeah.
we need to respond to the needs of our body. So sometimes we have a faster
Mm.
breath or a deeper breath. Like if I'm pushing strong, I need really to use the strength of my breath. But that's love for myself, respecting the
Mm.
need of my body. And I'm also respecting the need of the receiver's body in that moment. So if I'm pressing, I make sure that it goes through their exhale. Or if it's a stretching, I may want to embrace both an inhale and an exhale, or vice versa, depending on what the technique is. So I would say kind of dancing together, and the link is the breath, like the rhythm is given by the breath. And at the same time, there's the respect for the needs of the receiver and the needs of the specialist.
So can we to more about self-care and self-acceptance? Because I find that saying self-love is still really vague for me and for other people. So I'm asking people who have more experience and wisdom, what do they do in terms of self-acceptance?
Yeah, well, I could say
Especially someone like you, you're, perfectionist, go-getter.
yes, yes, yes. Self-acceptance, or we can even speak about love for oneself. For me, it's something that I have brought back in my life in the recent times. I kind of lost the north for some years. I dedicated a lot of my energy to doing other things for my family, for the school, etc. To the point where I was like those animals that running the wheel. What's the name of
Hamster?
hamster wheel. Yes, I was in a hamster wheel. Doing this, running, doing. I kind of lost the north, and then I woke up again and said, "Oh, I forgot how much I love to take care of myself." There's a beautiful expression in Italian that is il dolce far niente.
Dolce far niente.
Dolce far niente. Far niente is doing nothing, and dolce is sweet, doing nothing. I understand that for some people it's like, oh, but you do nothing, you get bored. No, it's absolutely is when you go beyond the boredom and you just enjoy the having nothing to do, which is never I have nothing to do. I have plenty of things to do in my to-do list, but I consciously decide to do nothing and just give myself some time off, maybe 15 minutes outside here in my garden, sun tanning, breathing in. That's the dolce far niente. It's a conscious choice. And that for me definitely is one of the manifestation of self-love. Really putting myself ahead of anything else I have on my to-do list. That's reminding me how important I am. To be honest, when I'm in that state, I'm actually showing more love to others and to the world. I want to say this because some people, and I was one of them, sometimes think, oh, think about myself, but that's very egoistic. And it's like, shame on you because you're egoistic. And I want to kind of give it a different sense. Not speaking about pushing other back and be the first in line, and that's really egoistic, but is if I don't take care of myself, how can I take care of others? If I don't value the gift that life is for myself, how can I value the life of others on all the levels? When I'm showing respect and I'm honoring the gift of life, my life, taking some time for myself, whether it's for meditation or for just, dolce far niente. I'm actually, if I think about myself as a role model, for instance, for my daughter, I'm actually showing her that it is okay, even with a very packed to-do list. It's okay if you take some time off and you just be with yourself and recharge your battery. And that's actually love for myself.
Has she taught you about love? Because usually children teach us a lot.
Wow. Yes. 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 Another person that I really respect once said that unconditional love is that of kids towards their parents, not vice versa. And I have to agree 100%.
Really?
So,
I don't think I've heard that before.
yeah, to me it was eye-opening. We parents, or at least me, let's not speak for the whole group, the parents, all of us, no, just me. Let's speak about myself. I realized that, of course, I have a preference when life is easy. So when she does her stuff and she doesn't make a mess in the house, yes, indeed. Although I wish I was doing different, but sometimes I I restrict. I don't want to say that I withdraw, but I kind of close the tap a little more of my manifestation of love and appreciation because I don't appreciate the behavior can be easily confused as I don't like you, but it's actually I don't like the behavior. So I try to word it out. But when the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed, so you're not speaking with an adult, but you're speaking with a person that is growing, and sometimes even with adult.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it can go through as I don't like you in this moment. While it's actually, I don't like that you throw your shoes on the sofa instead of putting them where they should be. When Layla was still in Ines' belly, the acupuncturist, who was a very special person, once told us, your daughter is coming to Earth to remind you love every day of your life and not only to you. I said, okay, master. Thank you. And then I don't know if this is an experience that all the parents have, but I definitely have this experience that Layla is reminding me love every day. So even when I'm struggling, she comes and with that unconditional love, she's hugging me even if I'm nervous, really trying to remind me that she's there. And of course, I have love for her, but also she's trying to remind me of the beauty outside. So definitely, she is a reminder of that greater love for nature, for humanity, even when I'm going through difficult times. So it's a teaching for me. I would say it has helped me even to reconnect with what is that I am liking, what is that I enjoy, and that is not necessarily connected with AQUASOMA. I really love my work, but still is a work. So you do it every
Yes.
day. And at the same time, it's like, I love eating. Well, then eat 24 hours a day. You start to hate it. Leila, she helped me question myself again, get in touch with other parts that I left behind.
Yeah.
And the cat as well. I think cats are the most zen animals in the world. When they want to be cuddled, they come and they take what they need, and when they want to sleep, they sleep. Yeah, it's a good reminder.
Yeah, they're really good with boundaries.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
You were talking about acupuncturists and pregnancy. I remember when I was in acupuncture school, one class was about taking pulse as part of the diagnose procedure. And one teacher was teaching us that if someone's pregnant, the pulse is very different. It's so sunny and joyous. He said you just have to feel it, then you know. And I thought, oh, he's just bullshitting until I had my own patient and I felt it. And I felt joyous just putting my fingers on her pulse. So I can't even imagine what it's like being a mother in that moment.
Well, I've never been a mother in this life, so I cannot tell. But certainly, there are mothers who really show and embody that joy. Other who are, I would say, maybe less lucky or just arrived less prepared or who chose a different life path. And so they're not living the pregnancy in a very joyful, conscious way. So this is something that unfortunately we see very often. But yes, those who allow the moment with all the the also the difficult time, because at a certain point you have a huge belly and there's a lot of going on. When you embrace what it is, it's very beautiful. For me, it's about acceptance. Now, if I had to find a word, is when you accept the experience, when you embrace it instead of resisting. Yeah, it's just marvelous. Even as a father, when I embraced the experience of, okay, now it's everything on me, the practical part, it was just very nice. Maybe accepting what it is, it's an expression of love, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything exciting you're working on?
I broke a taboo. Taboo are there to protect certain things. And then when you break a taboo, it's broken. There's no special glue to fix it. The limit is gone. Well, I listened to the idea of one of our colleagues, instructor. Years ago, he was saying, Giovanni, we should find a way to teach this online because online is the future. I was thinking, Europe, yeah, I mean, I know online is the future, like it's AI, but how can you teach something that is based on contact online without contact? I cannot even think about it. I had this taboo. If you're teaching massage, you have to massage, you have to have the person there with you. And then one day I broke the taboo and I started to observe the way I'm teaching now. Certainly, like 20 years ago when I was teaching, I was touching a lot my students. And I remember my mentor, Italo American, Michelle Scelenza, wonderful person. And she said, Giovanni, before you go touch, depending on the culture, you better ask, can I touch you? And I was thinking, okay, that's.
Oh, that's more American.
Yeah, me coming from Italy, And then based in Spain, you meet for the first time a person and they hug and kiss you in the cheek. I was like, whoa, that was even a little too much for me at the beginning, but then you get used to it. So this thing about, okay, can I touch you? And then, moving the arm, moving the hands. But that was 20 years ago. I realized that although very effective, sometimes the touch and the eagle eye of the instructor on your back could distract the students. So I applied one of the main principles that I teach in AQUASOMA, which is invisible. So I try to become invisible as an instructor, which could sound as an oxymoron, but it's actually making a lot of sense. So allowing the student to discover instead of doing a frontal lesson like me, I started to touch less and less and less and less. And nowadays I only touch unless there's really something that the student for some reason is not aware of.
You mean
And
helping
the
them make
visual,
adjustments?
yeah, and sometimes the visual or the auditory is not enough because they're just not aware of their body. Proprioception in the water is, you need to recreate a new proprioception of your body in the water. So sometimes it's just faster, easier to go and touch. But that happens very rarely now. So I realized that, wow, I'm actually not touching my student that much any longer. If I create very good audio video material, different point of views with zoom on the details, and my explanation is complete as I doing one or more classes, then why not? So I started to play with this idea, and then I did it. And why it's so exciting to me is,
And you
well,
did it in multiple languages, right? English, Spanish, Italian, French.
French, yes. And for the moment is all, but we're open to China and other
Russia.
languages. Yeah, that would be really good because I think Ukraine and Russia, they really need that. I'm not confusing the people with the governments. For me, that's very important.
Yeah.
People are the victims anyway. There will be the need to bring something like this over there. PTSD,
Yeah.
not only the people in the army, but also the civilians, people who've seen the horror of the war. So they will need to start trusting again in the good of humanity. There's a foundation in the US that is doing a very beautiful work on this aspect, working with war veterans. It was called Wave Academy. Now I don't know. I think they have changed name, but they started to work like nearly 10 years ago, I think, with war veterans, and they've done a marvelous job highlighting how aquatic bodywork can really heal those invisible wounds. So, of course, they're working with war veterans, so there's people who have maybe one or two limbs less.
Yeah.
But it's not that type of wound that need to be healed in the first place. I mean, yes, of course, for survival, don't get me wrong, but there are more profound wounds that can make your life a hell on earth if not healed. And I watched some videos with some of the people who received treatments, sharing their experience through set of session, and some were really saying, I got back to trusting humanity. So that allowed me to reinsert in my family, in my circle of friends, because otherwise there's anger, there's rage, there's feeling completely disconnected. And certainly aquatic bodywork help with that. So again, for me, that's really a manifestation of love with the big capital L. Back to what is really exciting. For me, it's exciting because it has to do with aquatic bodywork, with AQUASOMA, which is something that I love, but it's also playing with another way of conveying it or spreading it. So it's challenging me with online courses. It's a science that I don't know. So, okay, let's read about it. Let's study again. So learning something new, facing new challenges.
I was really impressed when I went through the course, and you're refining it even more.
Because in an in-person class, you deliver, and for me, it's like an onion, or like, let's say layer by layer,
Yes.
you're delivering up to what the student can hear in that moment, and then, okay, practice, and then you're going deeper and deeper and deeper. And when I started thinking about the online introductory course, I was thinking, okay, how do I do that? Because, you can't do a lesson that is 1 hour long, delivering everything, boom, in a shot. So yeah, certainly the micro learning and then doing more lessons on the same topic, like 1, 2, and 3. So you go deeper and deeper every time you add a little layer or a point of view on the same detail, and hopefully the student will practice between one and the other, and also highlighting the pro and contras of everything. I've always been, by definition, of my mentor. Once I asked Michelle, how was I when I was a student? She said, you were a pain in the ass, Giovanni. I was like, oh, okay. I'm more patient with my student now. I was never taking for granted what my teacher was saying. Not that I was defeating my instructors, but it's not just because they said it that it was the truth.
You were really curious.
I wanted really to understand why so and not in any other way.
Yeah.
And as you well said, and you know me well enough, I'm a perfectionist, which is not always making my life and others people's life easy. I also have a very specific gift, which is also my cross to carry, which is I have an eye for things that can be improved. I realize this can be really disturbing for others because I see a marvelous art piece or like something great has been done, and my eye automatically goes to the spot that it could be done differently to improve it. And I see really this as a gift, definitely. But I had to learn to shut my mouth and first show appreciation and, oh, wow, and see the hard work and everything that has been done, and then deliver what I see could be done differently at the second time.
Yeah.
As an instructor and thinking about the online courses, I had to learn and think how can I deliver the information so it's not overwhelming. And I'm really hearing with pleasure the student feedbacks and taking notes of there are other people who are really giving feedback. I'm so grateful that they give. They're generous enough because giving feedback is not easy. And so whenever there's somebody giving feedback to me, I'm really, really grateful.
Course is live. They can sign up on it's WATSU's website, right?
Yes, they are. They're on the course page, calendar page. There's an area for the online courses.
So who is the course for?
So when I decided to give it a try, there was a couple of things that were the drive for me. And it was a mind switch. Being a perfectionist, I wanted to deliver the best I can deliver. So it's either like this or I don't do it, which is wrong. Because then one day I realized, okay, what if somebody calls me from, I don't know, Korea? And I said, you know what? They would really need to pay me a lot of money because I have my family here. I really want to, to stay where my life is in this moment. Of course, there are younger instructors. We can send them there, but still, and we will, and we will do. But then I realized organizing a course in a place where you've never been, it takes a lot of energy. Our school survived the COVID, but indeed we had to withdraw, get smaller again, and start going again later on. We are still in a moment where we are investing, where we know there will be a follow up with the training, but there's really enough demand. It's a delicate process. So thinking about Korea just as an example, I said, well, I would just not go there. And then I realized, wow, but then I'm actually taking away something that really changed my life and has changed the life of many others just because of the effort to go there. financial effort, energy effort, everything, the effort. But that's a pity just because I want to offer the best. So to offer the best, I'm actually withdrawing everything. I'm preventing them to access it. And then I say, okay, how could I do that they can at least have the flavor of it, that they can taste it? If they decide it is for their life, maybe they have a drive to buy a plane ticket and, we host them here at our place. That was the trigger, the mind shift. I want to be able to lower the entrance ticket so people can have a taste of it, can try it with their friends, acquaintances, and family without having to spend a fortune. It was how can make the good for them and not just the good for me because I want to offer the best. you know. So and also the fact that okay, there will be the majority of people actually never think about doing it professionally, although we offer a professional certification and our focus is on preparing professional, but most of people they really do it because it's a self-growth path. How can I do good for them that are far away? That was really the mind shift that made me seriously consider the online training and then starting to develop it.
Yeah, in
I
the
was so
end
very
of the
proud of it.
day, I think for a human, maybe it matters the most is how many other fellow human beings have we served during our lifetime. Hearing you talk about developing the online course and putting it out there to make it available to people, that's one way of serving others.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. As a specialist, I say, okay, when I hold a person in my arms, I put myself 100% there. And when I'm teaching, um, I give all what I can give so you can reach where my arms are not reaching. And then the online part, which is still under development, like we've done the introductory course, but the first students already asked for the intermediate and advanced course. So, okay, well, okay, I need some time. But yeah, that's another way of where I cannot reach with my arm, where my fellow students or fellow instructor cannot reach. Well, the online will. Hopefully, it will speed up the spreading of of this word.
This might be one of my favorite part is I ask my guests to ask a question for me or the viewers to contemplate on as a parting gift.
During my courses, but there I tend also to develop an answer with my students is what is the most precious thing for humans? Everybody usually come with their first thought, and there we develop. You want me to develop it?
If you have the time, I would love to hear your view.
One of the first thing that comes out, not always the first, but among the first is love. And of course, I agree that's very important. But I say that there's something that comes before. For majority of people, when they think about love, they think about love for a partner, like romantic love. We're not thinking about romantic love, but there's definitely the connection with a certain type of love. So, what is most important for me, most valued, even though not always fully experienced by people nowadays, is to be seen and acknowledged. Even in romantic love, you're not seen actually. Because it's romantic love. Or maybe I should be more precise in falling in love. The other person not seeing you is just projecting on you what
Their perception
their perception or their dream or and true
or
love.
story from the past of their
Exactly,
childhood.
exactly. So basically, you're not seeing for who you are, and when people really see
But it
you,
makes me feel so sad just thinking about it.
well, speaking with people who study biology, and physiology. It does a lot about the need for the human species, like any other animal species, for procreation and perpetuating life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a way of nature to grant that people will get into some kind of interaction and eventually will create other beings, because that's nature just wants to perpetuate itself. It's what it is. You build a highway, you leave it there for 20 years and without driving on it, and you will see there will be even trees on it. So nature is strong and just wants to live. It goes beyond Giovanni, Weilai, Marco, Alessandro, or anybody. It goes beyond our ego. It's nature that wants to live. Going back to being seen, or some people can really change their life. Sometimes not even our parents saw us for who we are. They wanted a kid that, I don't know, had a degree in whatever, or that had success or achieved what they were not able to achieve or they were not allowed to achieve. And then when we grow, my goodness, I'm not envious of teenagers or young adults today. I mean, I think it's very hard world today. I'm not speaking about the world, not speaking about them. I'm speaking about a society where you really need to appear. And so the more you need to appear, the less you can be who you are, because you really need to be very strong to care less about what other things of you. And when you're adult, when you grow wise or old, you start caring less and less because you understand what's important and what's not. But when you're young, the younger you are, the more you need to belong to something. Sometimes you give away something of yourself just to be able to belong. So, no surprise if other people don't see you for who you are, because you're actually showing something it's not you.
Mm.
I see most of the influencer. I know some of them. I know their real life in person, really. And then, they're just human beings struggling with their life. It's not only yachts or nice skin. Life doesn't always give you caresses in the face. So the need of appearing brings us away from who we are. So no surprise that others are not seeing us, and no surprise that then there's so much mental illness issues. So once you find somebody who's really able to look at you, get rid of all the filters that you're putting between you and that person, or maybe that person is just so patient that is waiting there until the curtains are dropping, seeing you for who you are and not judging, just okay, you're beautiful human being, and beautiful is there just because you're a human being, not because you're cute or whatever. Oh, it's like a beautiful tree. How can you say that a tree is beautiful and the other is ugly? No, all the trees are beautiful. It's the beauty of nature. Well, that is for me the most important thing. And I've seen it changing lives, and then if you add the ability to listen, there's more interaction, not just I see you, but I also can listen what you have to say. Some people never had this from anybody, not their parents, not their partners, sometimes not even from themselves. What is the most valuable or precious thing in life? You should really think about
That's
it.
really profound. Thank you so much, Giovanni.
Thank you to you for opening this space. I actually really enjoyed. I really hope that my words um, can inspire people. If listeners can start to question things, that would be wonderful.
That's great.
Thank you, Weilai, for opening this space.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Aloha. Ciao.
Aloha.